Hello, everyone. It has been a long time since we talked, and boy, has a lot happened. So, as you know, By Design was a mental health, um, I guess, kind of initiative by me to be more of an advocate for mental health. And so, um, I started it in late 2019 and I stopped in 2020 for a number of reasons. 2020 just sucked. And it really all started when my Gigi passed away. And my Gigi is basically the mother of my aunts that live in DC. And I went to go pay my respects to her. And I just was not in the mood to start recording. And then when we got back from the funeral, Kobe died. And I was just like, what is going on? And so I just got out of the habit. Um, and then we had COVID starting to become an issue. And then I just was working from home. I bought a new car. I couldn't even really drive it anywhere because everybody was quarantining. And I basically ran out of my psych medication. At that time, I was actually taking what they call Depakote, which is a mood stabilizer. So I ran out of that and I didn't want to go to the doctor because I was just scared to just like go because I fear like doctor means that people there are sick and I just did not want to be anywhere near crowded areas or anything. So I had a anxiety about that. So I worked from home, and that was very interesting um, because I guess I didn't have to deal with a lot of the stressors that uh, was accompanied with actually going into the office. So I gradually became manic. And it wasn't as bad as my major episode that I talked about previously, but it was a interesting episode. So I became interested in numbers and animism and rocks and crystals and stuff like that some people believe in that has to do with their spirituality, numerology, and I listened to a bunch of gospel music. I had this need to cleanse myself, so I became a vegan after I did a juicing fast, and I shaved my hair off. It was a very interesting time, and then also I thought that I could talk to the dead and past relatives. I just believed in like the ancestors and stuff like that. Um, so because my manic issue, I thought it was a good idea to try to attempt to get in a relationship, which was a completely just bad idea altogether. And it definitely strained my relationship with some of my family members, particularly my mom, just because I was just really, in these different moods. And of course, when manic, your brain increases the dopamine, and you're kind of just erratic, and anything can kind of like set you off and trigger you. So I took a trip to California. I was manic then, and I actually had a good time. To be honest with you, I met up with two of my friends from college. Um, and I was talking to one about numbers and basically having these thoughts about the future and whatnot. And I was a bit delusional and all over the place, but I started going back to therapy. I started going back to therapy with the woman that I initially went to therapy with. And basically during that time, I also started back taking my olanzapine, which is what I'm on now. And that was mainly because it's a sleep aid in a sense. And because I was manic, I was having a hard time sleeping. So, but I didn't know it was an antipsychotic. I thought it was literally just a sleep aid. Um, so I started gradually getting better and just taking that. So I started going to therapy and started, going back into the office to work. And I would go to my car and I would have my therapy sessions over the phone, which is something that I definitely appreciated versus going in person just because it was more efficient. So I was talking to my therapist at the time about my finances and realizing I was really living from paycheck to paycheck because despite me having a master's and being well educated, the current university I was working at, well, not current, at that time it was current, um, basically, I just was not making enough money. I was actually operating in a deficit. So I had two options that I came up with. It was either get a part time job, so something like DoorDash or Uber Eats or the grocery delivery service, anything like that, or get a roommate. So I decided to get a roommate, and I basically put this ad on Craigslist. I know it sounds really, really cringy, but it worked. So I met Mr. Todd. Mr. Todd was a very gentle man. Like I know we say gentleman, but he was just gentle. He had a heart condition that left him permanently disabled. And though he had the option of living with some of his family members, he wanted his independence. And so he moved in with me. He had a dog um, that was very, very cute. And she was nice to me. She could not stand Guts. And for those who don't know who Guts is, Gus is my dog that I found, or he found me. We really found each other, but um, so Mr. Todd was just a great roommate altogether. Um, he was just so quiet and and we did talk, and he just pretty much lived a very simple life, and he loved living at my house. He loved it, and he was just so at peace. During that time, though, I wasn't. So, as some of you know, when you have a manic episode, you end up getting into a depressive episode right after that. So, I started going to depression. All I would do was I would wake up, go to work, do my work, go home, get in the bed. And it it kind of just started this cycle of me really not taking care of myself, and work became rough because my friends weren't working there. They were still working at home. I decided to go back to the offices. I just wanted to um, go out and have a reason to get up. um, so I just was kind of just not in a good place mentally. So the icing on the cake is when my roommate died. My roommate had a heart condition, and they said that if he ever had a heart attack, that he would die almost instantly. So one night, I hear this knock on my door, and I go outside in the hallway, and I see Mr. Todd on the bathroom floor. I call the police. I call his sister, and I literally watched this man die, and it really took a toll on me mentally. Um, and I didn't cry. I still to this day have not shed a tear, but it saddens me, and I do miss him dearly. He had a great family, and they really did love him, and they really, did their best to incorporate him. Because a lot of times when you have a disability, sometimes people that you thought cared about you look at you as a burden, and they took him on vacations, and they were just a good family, just good people that I'm so glad and that I met. But for me, it was just like I I was just like it just put me in a worse place than what I was, because it got to the point where I text my mom that I wish God didn't wake me up. Like that's how bad off I was. And so I had to take a break from work. I just could not get up in the morning. I just was like, I just couldn't do it. And so basically, my mom was just like, well, just, come stay with us, because having that traumatic experience with Mr. Todd dying and having to watch him die, my house just was not the sanctuary that it was for me. I just had to go. And so I basically stopped being a vegan, and that come around the new year of 2021, and basically I stayed with my parents, and I was on the fence about selling my house. And I stayed with my parents because I just needed some emotional support, and they were there for me. So my dad actually was having car issues. He drives a 20, oh Lord, a '06. I'm so used to saying 2020 something, but he has a '06 Nissan Pathfinder that was having issues. So he drove my Honda. Um, in in that time that I took off from my job at the time, I tried to figure out another way to have income. And I spent a long time with my parents, and basically decided to go ahead and sell my house, leave my life draining job at the university, and I paid off my car. I put uh, basically paid off my credit card with the money I got from selling my house, and I found my current job, and things just got so much better within a few months. And also, another thing is, I started taking my antidepressants on a daily. Previously, I would just take my antidepressants when I felt like I was going into a depressive episode, and my doctor, um, or my healthcare provider, because she's not a doctor, she's a nurse practitioner, but healthcare provider, um, she was just like, you need to take your antidepressants every day, just not when you feel like you need them. And that's also made a huge difference in my moods. So, right now, I am an AmeriCorps program coordinator. Some of you may know that I did 2 years of AmeriCorps, 2.5 really, but the half really doesn't count because I didn't finish the year. But I completed 2 years of AmeriCorps, and it has been very interesting. It's something that I definitely have to grow into. Still learning as I go, still um, trying to make sure I thrive and be the best supervisor I can be, because this is my actual first time being a supervisor in my career. So everything is going good. Got a new job, sold my house. I'm in living with my parents. I'm actually getting paid more at my new position. Then I get pregnant, and I'm scared. First of all, I wasn't even trying to get pregnant, okay? But I also wasn't not trying. I basically was just, whew, yeah, I was really scared, but everybody was so supportive. And my job, they were so supportive. My family, my friends, it was like everybody was like so excited that I was having like I was basically pregnant, and I'm just like, okay. So basically over a month after I get pregnant, I get a blood clot in my lung. And it was the most excruciating pain I have ever felt in my life. And it felt like somebody was stabbing me in my lung. It was just so hurtful. And I mean, so painful. So I spent 4 days in the hospital. Shout out to everybody who came and visited me. Shout out to everybody who checked on me while I was there. And they did an ultrasound to check on the baby. So the next day, they come into my room And they're like, so about your ultrasound. And I'm just like, oh God, what's wrong with my child? What's going on? You're having twins. And I was just saying, crap. I'm like, that's double the diapers, double the bottles, double the clothes, but definitely double the love. So it has been very exciting. But after that, I relatively had an easy pregnancy to deal with. No, like morning sickness probably maybe happened 2 times. I was just big. And I was still going out and I was still having fun and still living my life, just doing everything I could do. I made a postpartum bucket list of things I wanted to do after I was pregnant that I couldn't do while I was pregnant. I had a beautiful baby shower that my family and friends threw for me. That was awesome. And my job even just hooked me up with stuff, and they were just awesome. So after I have the twins, I had a C-section. They cut me open, but it's not that bad actually. The scar actually healed very, very good. Um, I went to a bit of a little bit of a depression, um, and it was kind of just like having to deal with just becoming a mother and having to, deal with not one baby but two, and ironically, I had the twins February 22nd of this year, so I had them 2/22/22. You would think that I planned it, but when I had my twins, I realized I had a lot of healing to do. And so I took a break from social media because it was just hard watching other people be happy. That's how miserable I was after I had the twins and had to deal with certain situations. But at the end of the day, I realized I'm healing for my girls. And so right now, I'm not healed yet. I'll be honest with you, I am not. But I'm getting to that place and I am healing as we go through this life and this chapter. Um, so I have a new therapist. I was actually going through therapy while I was pregnant, but unfortunately, I don't think that it was a good fit because there just wasn't a breakthrough that's happening now. And I think because I wasn't really being honest with myself. If you're not honest with yourself, it's very hard to be honest with other people. And it's very hard to be honest when you're in therapy because you have to talk about those things that are hard to talk about. Because if you don't, then you'll never be healed. It's kind of just like you're just talking about, it's very shallow. I'll put it that way. And my therapist, she's awesome. She gives me homework, and work is going good. It could be better, just because I want to make sure that we're, doing as best we can. But at this point, I'm starting to realize that things don't have to be perfect. Things could be very, very, I guess, not perfect and not, fit to a T at first, but just get it done. And that's why I'm doing this now because I want everything to be perfect. I want you guys to see my face. I want you guys to actually, put a face to a name. But this first, episode of 2022 is not going to be a visual of Tania because right now I look a mess, and right now I have one of my daughters on my lap, and we're outside in the patio, recording this right now. But I have to start. So if you're doing something or want to do something, just get started and enhance and improve as you go. That's my advice. But also, just to let you guys know, I do plan on um, really rebranding what By Design is. By Design is my baby. It was really geared toward mental health. But right now, there's so much more to talk about. There's so much more to explore because, as an aspiring rapper, I swear, uh, I've been trying to be a rapper since I was 9 years old, and I actually, come up with some pretty good stuff. And some of you may have even heard some of my music. I'm basically I made music when I was in started really in middle school and all the way after college, and I haven't made any music in about 6 years, but it's still something that I definitely enjoy, and it was something that I did when I was manic most of the time, and it's just something that I wanted to be creative about. So basically, I want to talk about more things. I want to invite people to talk about more things. We're still going to talk about mental health. We're still going to be advocates. But if I ever became like an actual musical artist and I actually took it seriously, I would rap about everything. I believe in um, God and Jesus, and I'm a Christian, but I also cuss. And I have two twins. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about finances. I want to talk about so many other things. And also, I'm a nerd. I like to watch anime and read manga. So we're going to talk about those things. And so the next episode is going to be getting to know me and what I like to do and what's my favorite food. I'm a foodie as well. So we're going to talk about me, and you guys are going to get to know me more. And then we're going to talk about some other stuff. I'm going to have some of my friends come on the show and talk about stuff. Um, so that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening so much. I greatly appreciate it. My fan base, I'm going to call you guys designers. So, my designers, peace out. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and you'll hear from me soon.